Good morning. Today is day 3 of us really focusing on fables for our writing class today. So today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be analyzing what makes a fable a fable. Like what are the different characteristics that they need in order to be considered a fable. So what we're going to do first is we are going to look at Aesop's fable of the tortoise and the hare. We're going to reread it. Then we're going to go over here. We're going to talk about the characters, the setting, the problem, the solution, like how is that problem solved, and what is the moral in that fable? What is it that we can walk away as humans, right? Not as a tortoise and not as a hare. And what can we walk away with? What lesson can we take and apply to our own lives? So over here, we're going to reread the story of the tortoise and the hare. A hare was making fun of a tortoise one day for being so slow. "Do you ever get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you in a race and prove it." The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for the fun of things he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as a judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and to make the tortoise feel very deeply how ridiculous it was for him to try and race with a hare, he lay down because the course to take a nap until the tortoise should catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly, but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when at last he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his swiftest meaning fastest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. And right down here it says, "Slow and steady wins the race." So let's talk about the title of the fable. So the title of the fable is The Tortoise and the Hare, right? And let's focus on the characters. The characters are in this story are the tortoise and the hare, but also the fox, because the fox is the one who was judging it. The setting, where does this story take place? This story takes place outside. The problem, what is the problem? The problem is that the hare is making fun of the tortoise, and in response, the tortoise challenges the hare to a race. So how is that problem of the hare making fun of the tortoise and taking a race, how is that solved? It was solved because the hare falls asleep for the rest of the race, and the tortoise takes his time, who is taking his time, winds up winning the race. And what is the moral of this fable? What is that lesson that us as humans can take away in this lesson? The moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. What does that mean in our own words? It means don't rush, right? Take your time, because eventually you will get there. You will get to that finish line in life, quicker than you realize, because you're taking your time and you're putting in your best effort. That tortoise didn't give up. He put in his best effort and he wound up winning. So now what we're going to do, the application for you guys, is we are going to reread The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And instead of filling out this organizer, I created an exit ticket on the Mopeg Writing Google Classroom. So it says, this is The Boy Who Cries Wolf. Let's go ahead and reread this one. A shepherd boy tended his master's sheep near a dark forest not far from their village. Soon he found life in the pastures very dull. All he could do to amuse himself was to walk to his dog or play in his shepherd's pipe. One day, as he sat watching the sheep in the quiet forest and thinking what he should do should he see a wolf, he thought of a plan to amuse himself. His master told him to call for help if a wolf were to attack the flock. The villagers would then drive it away. So now, though he had not seen anything that even looked like a wolf, he ran toward the village shouting at the top of his voice, "Wolf! Wolf!" As he expected, the villagers who heard the cry dropped their work and ran in great excitement to the pasture. But when they got there, they found the boy doubled up with laughter at the trick that he had played on them. A few days later, the shepherd boy again shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" Just as before, the villagers ran to help him, only to be laughed at. Then, One evening, as the sun was setting behind the forest and the shadows were creeping out over the pasture, a wolf really did spring out from the underbrush and fell upon the sheep. In terror, the boy ran toward the village, shouting, "Wolf! Wolf!" Though the villagers heard the cry, they did not run to help him as they had done before. "He cannot fool us again," they said. The wolf killed a great many of the boy's sheep and then slipped away into the forest. All right, so let's go to our exit ticket. So here we have the fable organizer, right? Here you're going to type in the title of the fable, and you're going to choose all of the main characters. There might only be one, there might be more than one. So the choices are shepherd boy, shepherd's pipe, master, wolf, village people. So what is the setting of this story? Where does this story take place? Does it take place in the pasture or in the store? What's the problem in the story? You're going to type it in your own word what you think the problem is. Try to write it in a complete sentence. The problem in the story is blank. And what is the solution? The solution, how is this problem solved? The solution is blank. And then last question is, what is the moral of the boy who cried wolf? Tend to your wolves, or don't lie because people won't believe you when you need them to. You can complete this and submit it for your check-in for writing today. So to review, today what we did was we analyzed what the different parts that make up a a fable. So we have characters, we have setting, problem, solution, and a moral. All right? Have a great day.